Hey, what am I doing? Hey, oops. Happy Wednesday, y'all. Hola,
Hi,
welcome.
how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Um,
Great.
my question is about the feminism is for men. Do you mean like overall as a movement, or do you mean that the aspects of feminism can benefit men?
What's the delineation between those two?
So like I've heard some people say that men can benefit from the movement or the positive outcomes of feminism, but I've also heard women say that men can be feminists. So I don't know which route that question or that topic is going to.
Yeah, both of those are true. I think men should be feminists because they do benefit from the ideas within feminism.
What specifically would you say men benefit from feminism?
Essentially, it frees them from submitting to their patriarchal role within society, which I would say within the patriarchy, men are required to enact psychic self-mutilation, and then other patriarchal men enact rituals that attack their self-esteem. And then I would also say that men under the patriarchy uh, don't get the opportunity to love themselves and other people fully.
Do you also think that that comes from like that can help with men kind of detaching from the ideology of being like alphas or suppressing their feelings and things of that nature, being able to show affection and things of that nature?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to get a clear understanding of what, like which direction that was going in. That's all I wanted. I agree with pretty much everything else.
Oh, okay, great.
Thank you for allowing me up.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Bye bye. Hi, friends.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
Okay. So, um, I kind of wanted to talk about the comprehensive sex ed. So,
sure.
I learned in health class about how men and women reproduce and different sorts of STDs. And hold on, give me one sec. Yeah, and I learned about a lot of different, just all the consequences of, unprotected, you know, and I feel like that was pretty comprehensive, right? And today, it seems like there's a lot more or a lot different forms of education in regards to sex. And I feel like that's where you kind of lose some people when, it's not just about like how reproduction happens, it could introduce like, methods of how people are enjoying themselves, which is not really education.
It very much is education. So obviously this education is age appropriate, but I think that we need to have an intersectional lens when talking about sex. And whether that is anal sex, oral sex, vaginal sex, it's important that everyone understand not only the mechanics, but the risks and ways you can keep yourself safe and healthy.
So you think teachers should be able to have those kinds of conversations with children?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, most people would disagree because that's not like necessary, because that's more of I don't know. Like, so you think that should be the teacher's job?
Well, I think that sex health education should be done by social workers because that is the most qualified. If we're talking about the mechanics of sex as well as STIs and safe sex, that wouldn't be in the curriculum until about puberty, which I would say would be seventh or eighth grade.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't think we should be explaining like to children how they can
Are,
have sex.
are seventh and eighth graders not children?
Well, when what I was referring to is there's been what's the guy's name? I forgot his name, but Project Veritas came out with this whole expose of, this dean of students in this private school that was bringing in these like sex toys and showing them to the kids and whatever. And I know they were around like 14 or 15, but like, I mean, it's a private school, so like I don't know if their parents consented to that. I don't know or anything, but I just feel like that's going a little far with sex education. I can definitely see why people are pushing back on it, or at
That's
least
not the
those
comprehensive
areas.
sex education that I'm referring to.
Okay, so where's like
And
a
I don't know if like
guideline?
Project Veritas is like an exactly a great source to cite because they are like a far
No, it
right
definitely
activist.
is. Yeah, it doesn't matter what your talking points are about it when there's factual evidence. Like, you can't deny that. And if you're not aware of the story, that's just disingenuous. And why should I trust what you have to say? You're just an individual. You don't have nearly any credentials that even they
I
do.
do. If you would like a source on where I'm getting this information from, I
No,
would
I said
refer you to
credentials. Yeah, they have sources too, but you
one
can't just
second,
say that they're not
one second.
valuable.
No,
Or you
I
said they're
can.
right
I can
wing
be
too.
one sec. That is
I'm sure
true.
you
They
can
are a
have your
far
opinion, but
right
that's not
wing
objectively
activist
true.
group. I can be critical of the source that you
I'm sure
state.
you can. I'm sure
If
you
you would
can,
like a
but
source
you
on
can't
what I
invalidate
am
it. You can't
referencing, yes, I
invalidate the
can.
facts. No,
I
no,
can
you can't. Not if
validate
you're a
the
genuine
videos and the
person.
critique and the lens that they present it through. Now, if
Okay,
you
so hold
would
on.
like to
Are you
say,
familiar with the story? Are you
please
familiar with the
stop,
story, or are
please
you
stop
just
talking
talking out
so
of your
that I
ass?
can keep, please stop talking.
Yes, so
So
you can
when we
spew your
talk,
bullshit talking
please
points. I'll allow
stop
it. Yes.
talking. No, because you're just talking over me. You're just
Well,
steamrolling.
you can't really listen. I understand it's hard for you to
I
keep up, but
am
like, yeah, you're
listening.
lost.
I'm trying to provide you a counter with your statement. If you would like to understand what comprehensive sex education is, I would reference you to the futureofsexed.org. This is information that is based off of a 30-year study and is designed not only to keep children safe, but for them to have better health, interpersonal, and family outcomes.
Sure, sure. So that's not what I'm arguing. I'm arguing that there's a problem with how people are trying to present that in schools today. So that's what I was bringing up. I know
Well,
what the definition
that's not my
of
argument. If you want
comprehensive
to
sex
argue
ed
that, you
is.
can go somewhere
I'm
else.
glad
But
that
that's not my
I'm
argument.
glad that it isn't though. I'm glad that it isn't.
If
Let's
you
stay
would
away from
like
that.
a critique on how to solve that, I don't think private schools should be allowed.
Yeah, that's a wild thing to say.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it kind
They
of
did
is.
that in Germany, where private schools were not allowed. Because
Yeah, I
then
don't
when
care what
rich
Germany
people,
did.
you should,
Yeah, it
because
doesn't
Germany is
matter. I know
rated
you're
one of the
so
best
worried about rich
education
people.
systems in the world. When rich
Oh,
people
okay, so
have
they
to
can't
send
have
their kids
private
to
schools
public
because they
school,
were
they
private
will
schools in
care how
Germany.
public schools are run. And I don't think it's ethical for institutions to make money off education.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I think children's education is more important, and if it's not getting done in a public school, then it should be allowed. And that's kind of ridiculous. Like, how can you be against that? That's so weird. It's so weird.
because it's not so weird. I even gave you an example where they outlawed private
You're
schools
talking about
within
Germany?
Germany, and they had
Yeah,
better educational outcomes
yeah,
because
that's
there weren't institutions, number one, profiting off educations, and it forced people to actually care about the public school system. So that was adequately funded, that there were
okay,
adequate
okay.
teachers, and that
So you're saying we're not
curriculum
getting
could be
enough funding.
regulated.
What is
Correct.
your source? What is your source to say that there isn't enough funding? Because our our children are not they're not as smart as we used to be. They're not as capable.
It
And I
depends.
don't think it's because of private schools.
I'm
No,
saying
it doesn't
that
depend.
my
It's
critique
objectively
to what
true. Like
you said
these
about
kids
how
can't
a
read.
private school is acting and doing sex education, my critique of that is to get rid of private schools because I don't think they serve a function. I think they actually take away from public schools and their ability to provide comprehensive education.
I
So,
think it can
going
fill
back
a
to
gap though.
comprehensive sex education, yes, this is an important thing that we need within our school curriculum.
Yeah, yeah, I would definitely agree. It's just it's a problem. Like they're wanting to add things to it because it's not just that anymore. Like that's what I'm trying to articulate. Like it's expanding in definition and it's like acquiring all these different
What
like
is it
fetishes and
expanding?
shit.
You
It's
gave
so
me an
weird.
example of a private
I
school, which isn't
did.
under any kind of
Yes.
jurisdiction from the state. So, give me an
No,
example
but
of
it's an
public
example
schools
of
and what curriculum they're
yeah,
implementing.
because there isn't one. That's not the point I'm trying to make. What I'm
That should
saying is
be the
that that's
point.
how people are. No, it isn't. I'm saying that there's people that they're trying to do that now, and who knows? Like I'm saying, we
They're
should push
trying to
back
do
against it
what?
while it's happening. I
They're
already told
trying
you
to
what the
do
guy
what?
was doing, the dean of students. I already explained to you.
You
What
gave
do you?
me
What
one
do you?
off example as
It
a
was like a lesson.
generalization. Well, one second.
Yeah.
You gave a
Well, it's
one off
happened a lot. I could
example
research it for you.
to give a generalization
Yeah, I'd
when
have
it
to
comes
turn on my
to
computer. No, 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 it isn't. That's not what I was doing. That's not what I was
that.
doing.
That is what you
I'm
were
just saying
doing.
that's a problem and we need to talk about it because that's not sex education. And they're labeling it as sex education when it's not.
You gave
So
me
that's
a
all I was trying to
one
say.
off instance to generalize an entire system and
No, I'm
idea.
not
And
generalizing.
it's
That's
not,
not what
you
I'm
are.
doing. I'm saying that
We're
idea
speaking
is
in
not okay.
generalizations. We are speaking in
No, I'm
generalizations. We are not.
not. No, I'm not.
That's what
I'm
the
not
subject
speaking in
is.
generalizations.
That's the
Cool.
problem because that's
That's
how we're
cool.
trying to have this conversation.
Yeah, that's not really productive though for like what it's really about nowadays. Because like yeah, everybody should learn how you could get an STD or you know whatever all the biological processes of having a child, whatever. But not like the kinks and like fetishes stuff. And that's what I was saying. So that's all I have to say.
No, you were definitely misconstruing. There's even a quote from a school spokesperson that said, "The dean was filmed without his knowledge or permission while describing one example of our inclusive LGBTQ affirming a comprehensive approach to sex education. Veritas deceptively edited the video with malicious intent." I don't know where he went.
Hi, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. I want to talk a minute about abortion. If a let's presume it because it happens unfortunately all the time. A pregnant woman is killed. Say she's murdered. Typically, the assailant is charged with her death and that of her unborn baby. Do you agree with that?
No. Are you familiar with Chris Watts?
No.
So Chris Watts unalived his pregnant wife Shannon, who was 15 weeks pregnant, and he was charged with unlawful termination of a pregnancy.
Okay.
So
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that case. That's right. That's right.
it really
Okay.
depends on what state you're in, and it also depends on how far along the pregnant person is.
So you don't agree? Say the woman's 7 months pregnant. and she's unalived, the suspect should not be charged with the first-degree murder of the unborn
There's
child.
no way I can give a generalized statement to that. I would need so much context to the example. Like, I can't give a generalization.
DUI, drunk driver, it happens. Drunk driver hits a car, kills the pregnant driver, and is charged
Then
with,
no, that wouldn't be first degree murder.
well, that'd be probably a manslaughter. Do you think he should be charged with the taking the life of the female and her unborn baby?
No,
He shouldn't.
no.
Okay.
I don't think it should be like a charge as if the fetus was an individual person. I think there could be a specialized charge.
Okay, can I ask? Because many people agree that
And I don't see what that has to do with abortion in any way, shape, or form.
because a lot of people will say that life doesn't begin until the baby is born, but yet they're in support of a suspect being charged with taking the life of an unborn.
I think a lot of people say that rights don't begin until birth. I think we can recognize that in utero, it is a living thing. The main debate around that is, when does personhood begin?
Now, do you believe rights begin at birth only because before birth the child is fully dependent on someone else to sustain viable life inside the womb?
No, I would say rights begin probably around week 22.
Okay, so you are against abortion after week 22?
Well, it depends on how you define abortion. I define abortion just as the deliberate termination of pregnancy or the evacuation of contents within the uterus. So if we define it as that medical term, then no, I think abortion can occur at any time. If the person is past 22 weeks, I think we can certainly prioritize not only her life, but the life of the fetus, and either do a hysterotomy abortion or an induction abortion. It doesn't mean that the fetus needs to die as a result.
Okay, so if it's not medically necessary to protect the life of the mother, and she decides at 6 months she wants to get an abortion, which will result in the unaliving of the child, do you support
Why would
that?
it result in the unaliving of the child?
Because, to my knowledge, who would front the cost to put that baby in NICU for 3 months to keep it alive? Why would they?
There are safe haven laws where you can literally give birth to your baby, drop it off at a hospital, and leave, and not incur any medical bills.
Is that the general outcome when women have late-term abortions, that they fight to keep the baby alive, and they do?
Late-term abortion is not a medically appropriate term. There's no such thing as a late-term abortion. And if you want to talk about late-term abortion, then you need to concede abortion within the first trimester, because you must recognize that a majority of abortions are done within the first trimester, correct?
Oh, certainly. Yeah.
What percentage would you say is in the first trimester?
I would have to say that probably 75%.
It's
If not more.
93.
Yeah.
So 93% is within the first trimester. The remaining 6% is in the second trimester prior to 22 weeks, and then 1% is after 22 weeks. So I'm curious why you want to talk about this 1%. If you want to talk about this 1%, are you just not concerned with the other 99%?
Well, I could ask you the same question. When pro-lifers say that abortion should be outlawed, in response, those who are pro-choice say, but what about those who
That's a deflection.
are pregnant because of rape?
That's a deflection.
It's only
That's a
1%.
deflection. Don't deflect. Answer my question. If you want to talk about this 1% where pregnancy is terminated, are you not caring about the other 99%?
Oh, absolutely I am, yeah.
Then why do you want to talk about 1%?
First of all, I don't know for a fact that it's 1%. And I'm as concerned about the 1% as you guys are when you're talking about
That's a
abortion should be
deflection.
legal.
That's a deflection.
No, no,
Tell me
no.
why you want to focus
It
on the
it's a
1%.
it's a follow-up. Yes, I am concerned. To answer your question, my follow-up question
Tell
is
me why. Tell me why.
because a life is a life. 1%
Then why
of
are you talking about the 1% and not the 93% if a life is a life?
I'm talking about all lives.
No, you're not. You want to talk about late-term abortion.
Correct. And now I want to talk about midterm and early term abortion. Let's
Okay,
talk about
great.
all
What
abortion.
what what would you like to talk about with that?
That I think there comes a point where probably, in my opinion, after about 12 weeks, abortion should be outlawed, except in cases where it's medically necessary, which is in very, very few
So
cases.
you really are fine with a majority of abortions, it sounds like.
Yes, with majority, but there's still
There you
thousands of
go.
abortions that aren't the majority. There's
So
just like
why do you think abortions happen
what?
after 13
Wait,
weeks and then
do I
after
get?
22 weeks?
Can I finally ask you the question I've been trying to ask you?
Yeah,
You
go
keep
ahead.
thinking I'm deflecting. Okay, so only 1% of abortions are done because it's medically necessary. Yet you guys fight for that 1%. Why are you fighting for that 1%?
Because we don't think that a person who is pregnant needs to be either dying or assaulted to have rights to their body,
But
which
you're
is a
fighting.
common pro-life argument.
But why are you fighting for that 1% when the 93% of 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 fetuses are being aborted when it's not necessary? Why are you worried about the? Why are you
Because we
focusing on the
find it
1%?
unethical. We find it unethical to force someone to sustain pregnancy against their will.
Okay, I may find it unethical that I that the 1% of fetuses are being aborted against their will.
So if you find this 1% unethical, do you find the 93% unethical?
Not if they're early term.
So that's my whole point. So you so you really don't think abortion is an unethical decision. So you
I think at some
recognize
point,
that there is a difference. There is a difference between a first-term fetus and a third-term fetus.
sure, absolutely. So I'm against late
Right.
term abortion.
Then you're not really
No,
pro-life.
I'm
I
I'm
would just say
I'm
you're pro-sentience.
I'm against late term abortion.
Late-term abortion is not a thing.
Okay, I'm against a fetus being taken out of a woman's womb late into the pregnancy. Uh,
Why does that happen?
why does it happen?
Yes,
In the few cases it does, because a woman decides late in her pregnancy that she no longer wants the child. She's scared, doesn't have the
that's
money.
incorrect. That's incorrect.
Oh, so you have the answers. Okay, what are they? What are the
Yes.
reasons? Why are the reasons that
The
happens every
reasons
time?
that the reasons that people have terminations later in pregnancy is because of either risk of death for the pregnant person or a fatal fetal abnormality. Those are
So
the
you
two
think
reasons.
all late term abortions are for those reasons?
Yes.
All abortions. There's never a
Yes.
case where.
If we're so again, if we're going to talk about termination later in pregnancy, I would say that's anything beyond 24 weeks. And
So
yes,
there's
a
never a case
majority,
where it doesn't happen for those reasons. It's always because of those
correct,
reasons.
correct,
I'm glad you know every
correct.
single case
Women
out
do
there.
not wake up in the third trimester, having sustained pregnancy for the first and second, and said, you know what? I'm not feeling this anymore. Please remove the baby from my uterus. And while you're at it, just go ahead and kill it. Like, that's such a villainizing take of women. I'm appalled. I'm sure you're searching for some kind of source outside the app, but I want you to know we can't hear you. Okay. Bye bye. Toodles! Bye bye. All right. Cool. We don't have anyone in the guest request at this point. If you guys could go ahead and tap that screen, get the likes up. Hopefully we're on the For You page. We've got a good amount of people in here. If it's your first time here, welcome. Please consider following and subscribing. I do debates 3 to 5 times a week if I don't get bananaed and if I don't get sick. Mainly my topics are the ones you see up here, feminist topics, topics talking about marginalized people and equality, as well as educational topics. You can also follow me on Instagram. I do upload debate replays on YouTube, so if you ever miss a live debate, you can always catch it there on YouTube. And then I do have a Discord, which I highly recommend joining. Oh, thank you. Is it Jillian? Jillian and Simply, thank you so much for subscribing. I highly recommend joining the Discord. We got a really great group of people. I love. It's a really fun atmosphere, very educational, very positive, very like I am so proud of my audience and community. It's just absolutely wonderful people. So I highly recommend joining the Discord. I also do have a podcast with fellow TikTok creator Joe Von Bradley called Premeditated Sin that is live every Thursday on YouTube, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Everything I just mentioned is all linked in my bio. Yeah, love you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you again for subscribing. What look should we do today? I've had 2 debates, and so I used to be so good at multitasking with my debates as well as doing my makeup, and now I'm just like, eh. I stopped doing one or the other. But let's moisturize, and then I think we can get on to makeup. How was everyone's Wednesday? Oh. Organizing. I think I want to do a purple look again. That was fun last time. You're sick too? Man, I tell you, my last sickness just totally knocked me out. It was really a lot of congestion the first 4 or 5 days. Like I would wake up and my throat would hurt so bad, it would hurt to talk. And then the dry cough set in, and then I got really nauseous, and I am a terrible nauseous person. Like if I'm nauseous for like either like drinking too much or like eating something I shouldn't have, I would rather throw it back up and feel better. But if like I have to stay nauseous, terrible. Like I think that's why I didn't like pregnancy in the first trimester so much, is because no matter what you do, you're just constantly nauseous. You're welcome. Oh no, I think it was an accident. I felt like they were a follower. I've seen their profile pic before. Pocket request. Hey Britt, hey everybody, welcome. I don't know, it feels too early to restart. Maybe
Are there any topic requests? Hey, hey. I don't know what to talk about. I saw you guys so recently. Have I ever read A Court of Thorns and Roses? I have not. What genre is that? Dudes. Oh, is that an edit? Hi, dudes. I do have a couple videos I just posted. I also do have my last 2 streams posted. The one I did with Jones, which was right as I was getting sick, or like right in the middle of my sickness. And then the one I did yesterday. You heard it's spicy? Ooh. I don't know if I need like spicy literature. It's already unbearable enough. It's overrated. I have this group of girlfriends. We all used to work together, and I think this was back when we worked. Yeah, this was back when we worked together. But one of the girls, Lacey, she loved 50 Shades of Grey. And my friend April and I were like, it's mid. Like, we don't know why. And why you like this. And Lacey convinced us to come to the movie theater with her and watch the very last one. Or is it Twilight? No, it's 50 Shades of Grey, isn't it? Isn't there more than one? Yeah, there's 3. Yeah. So she made us go see the last one with her. And when we get to the movie theater, it's like us 3 and 2 other people. I never even read the books. And like me and April were just cracking jokes through the whole thing because it was just so. And then we leave, and even Lacey's like, "Yeah, that movie was shit." Like, to do spicy, like you have to. It has to be. It's a very complex topic. Like there has to be anticipation. There has to be buildup. There has to be like emotional connection. There's so many things that have to be happening in order for the literature to be successful, for women to like feel satisfied and connected. You gotta know, like there's gotta be passion. You have to tease. It has to, yeah. Okay. Last call for any subject change. I'm gonna edit my background. Tension is the must, yes. Even actors hated those movies. Well, then it must be true. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and restart. I will be back in a couple minutes, probably like 5 or so. So I will see you guys in a minute.